Hey everybody, Jenny Carlson here. Big night of softball in the state of Oklahoma. Wanted to talk to y'all a little bit about what we saw tonight in super regionals. Sooners win, Cowgirls win, but let's start with what happened in Norman. As Oklahoma wins their super regional 2-0 over Florida State, wins both of the first two games of the super regional. We saw the Sooners win in run rule fashion on Thursday night, Friday night, a closer game, but 4-2, Oklahoma triumphs over Florida State. And this was a game where, we saw Oklahoma use a lot of different pitchers. Started Kirsten Deal, brought in Carly Keeney, finished with Nicole May. It was maybe not as crisp an outing as you might have hoped from any one of those pitchers, but I thought Nicole May finished that game fantastically for the Sooners. They've definitely found a strength in her coming out of the bullpen. But as much as anything, we saw some defensive gems, especially out of Jayda Coleman, a catch in center field that likely saved a home run. The TV angle, I'm out of town. I'm not there in person, out of town for the holidays. So I'm going off of TV like a lot of you. But it sure looked like that was a run saved for the Sooners. So definitely a huge defensive play and really a good win for the Sooners. You don't make your ninth Women's College World Series in 10 tries and not have some pretty good stuff out there. So Sooners moving on to the Women's College World Series are the first team to punch their ticket for this year's Women's College World Series as the 2 seed, which depending on what happens down in Austin, we saw Texas A&M beat Texas, the top overall number 1 seed in this tournament, in the first game of that super regional. Longhorns are going to have to rally. That could leave the Sooners as the top seeded team in the Women's College World Series, depending on what happens down in Austin. But definitely an impressive 2-game sweep by the Sooners of the Seminoles. You got to feel a little bit for the Seminoles. This is a program that played for the national championship 2 of the last 3 years, losing to Oklahoma during this dynastic run of the Sooners. Now they find themselves on the outs of a super regional. If Florida State had come along at any other time with this kind of team, they might have won multiple championships under Lonnie Alameda, an OU alum. But as it is, they find themselves in this really, tough time to really do much of anything other than watch Oklahoma march to more national championships. So hats off to Florida State. What a great program they are. But Oklahoma just better in super regionals this weekend as they get better pitching, better hitting, just overall looking like a complete package right now in Oklahoma. Now let's turn our attention to what happened in Stillwater. Oklahoma State opening their super regional against Arizona. Obviously traditional power in Arizona, but a team that comes into the super regional unranked. They went to Arkansas last week, did the Wildcats, and won a regional on the road, one of only 2 teams to do that. So you knew that they were feeling good. They were feeling hot. But on this night, oh my goodness, Lexi Kilfoyl, unbelievable performance by the senior pitcher. The Cowgirl senior only throws 67 pitches in an 8-0 run rule victory over Arizona. She entered the 5th inning, which with the Cowgirls winning by 8, they knew that if she got out of that inning, game would be over. She entered that inning only having thrown 47 pitches. So at that point, I almost wondered if she got out of there, say 52, 54 pitches, Oklahoma State might look to start her again in game 2. I think if they go to 3 games, she'll definitely start game 3. But with the low pitch count in this game 1 for Lexi Kilfoyl, I wonder if Kenny Gajewski is at all, tempted to come back with Lexi Kilfoyl in the second game against Arizona on Saturday. We'll have to see, in the same way that I was curious what Patty Gasso would do in game 2 with her pitching staff. I'm curious to see what Kenny Gajewski does with his, but just a great overall defensive night led by Lexi Kilfoyl. But then offensively, obviously the 8 runs, it was a home run parade. We saw some huge bombs by the Cowgirls, just one after another. At one point, 3 of 4 batters hit homers at one stretch in this game. So Cowgirls were dominant. These were 2 teams coming in that you felt like the offenses were going to be on display. But the way Lexi Kilfoyl pitched, Arizona just never really got comfortable, never manufactured much of anything. So she was fantastic, and then those Oklahoma State bats were fantastic. As good as Oklahoma is playing right now, you got to look at Oklahoma State and say they're playing every bit as well, every bit as confidently. So One team from the state is already in the Women's College World Series. I would not be surprised if on Saturday we make it 2 from the state with Oklahoma State. But we'll see. Game 2 of their Super Regionals on Saturday. We'll have more coverage as more teams get qualified, and then obviously lots going on in the Women's College World Series. So stay right here. Can't wait for all the softball to come.